Today's an incredible day. Yo! Today is the day. We're gonna do some fun stuff and I'm gonna show you right now. I gotta get the serious ones on. Okay, I am now completely serious. You see it? I can see, we're gonna see, you and I can see. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna show you. This is what we're gonna do. Look at this piece of machinery. This is some type of great machining. This is amazing. Anyway, this is the start of the Baja kits. And just so you guys know, we, as I adjust the camera, we are gonna install this. It won't be an exact step-by-step, but it will be an install video. The reason being is I'm gonna have to do some reinforcement to the upper control arm brackets in the front because a friend of mine, Jason with 22 Wild Trek, I believe it is, told me that they're making double shear brackets because they're having bolts bend and some of the actual upper control arm brackets tear. So we're gonna install some. Let's go. Okay, what you can see in all these boxes right here is everything we're gonna use to put on here. There's front and rear keying coilovers that I've been waiting for, and the reason why it took them so long is because you could get readily available keying coilovers anywhere. You couldn't get the adjustables, so that's what took us a long time. Anyway, these are fresh, hot off the press, and I mean literally built straight to us in like 10 days after almost 11 months. Either way, the whole kit is here, and we're gonna start on this and get it done. Like I said, we're gonna do some modification to the upper control arm brackets, and then that's about it. There are some spacers that we have to run in the back, and I'll show you those. Are we super concerned about them? No, I've wheeled now 4 vehicles that have had spacers that I haven't had an issue. It's just like everything else. It's just like a steering box. Don't bind things in a way that you wouldn't expect them to work. Now you're gonna have binding and crawling, that's just the way it works because it's 2 forces pushing against each other trying to get over something. I mean outside forces. You never outside load the tire, you never cause the tire to be under strain before you enter an obstacle. You wanna back up and reset, get onto it with no strain, inside or outside, when you're getting a tire up on something, those kind of things. Other than that, we should be good. Brenthal's been bombing theirs with these 2-inch spacers. That's what I'm using, 2-inch spacers. That will even the back with the front. It's gonna be wide, guys, like super wide. I can't even imagine what it's gonna look like. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna see me preliminarily take some measurements, and I'll just do it in time lapse. I'll write them down and we'll kind of go from there. So let's roll. Now I know you guys are gonna try to say my drawing doesn't look like it, but it is it. And so let's look at the measurements. All right. So what we have here, bam. This is our Bronco. So this is front and this is rear. It shows the rear width right now currently it being 85.5. The front width is currently at 84. And that's outside tire to outside tire. Front height from floor to lower fender lip, we'll call it, is 42 7/8. And then the rear is 42.5. So now, let's see what changes. Did I tell you guys how excited I am? This is, I mean, I'm so dirty and fuzz everywhere. I can't wait to bomb this thing. You guys see my videos, I already bomb everything anyway, so this dude is just gonna be. All right, according to the math, going back to it again, front height is 42 7/8 to the front fender underlip. Rear was 42 1/2 from the underlip to the ground. And then the stock droop in the front was 3 inches. And then the stock droop in the rear with the sway bar disconnected is 6.62 inches of droop. So what I'm curious about it, oh, and the rear width is 85 1/2. So what I'm curious about it once we put this kit on is what does the droop change, right? Because that's the biggest thing. Up travel's a lot too, but droop is a big deal as well. So what is it gonna change by putting these different arms and different shocks and stuff on? And really how much will we achieve? Not just for crawling, but absorption. And the biggest thing we're doing it for is absorption. So I can go real fast on a lot of things and just beat the snot out of it. So let's see how it goes. What are your guys' guesses? In the comments below, put what you thought it was gonna be. It's a mid-travel kit, Big King shocks, coilovers. It's all being replaced. The arms are being replaced, upper and lower controllers are being replaced. Put in the comments below, put what you think it was gonna do, or if you thought it was gonna do more or less or whatever, so we'll know. Okay, so, obviously if you've never taken them apart, this is what it looks like. You can see I removed my crash bars, I cut them even. These front ones and then the rear ones I just took out. I have a little bit of rubbing here and it's minor with the 37s. And those are 37 1250s on the standard offset. So that should kind of tell you how it's kind of oriented now. The one thing I will say is that after looking at all, it looks pretty simple or fairly straightforward, right? So upper control arm, lower control arm, and this is the hub assembly. This is your brake, and then again your strut. And this strut is the factory strut, but I did put the 2-inch perch collar lift on it, and it's made a difference as far as the aesthetics look like it, but it doesn't improve any kind of performance whatsoever. Like, that's just a matter of fact, because obviously anybody that knows anything, a collar perch lift doesn't improve the shock or strut's ability to lengthen or absorb anything. It just makes it taller by putting more pressure on the spring, which obviously forces it down, which raises the vehicle. This is completely different. We're going to be replacing all this. They'll be longer. We'll have just about longer everything. Longer lower control arms, longer stock shafts, longer upper control arms. So everything is going to get lengthened. And so theoretically, you'll have more travel down, more travel up. So it's basically what I wanted to show you there. What I was telling you about as far as structurally reinforcing is on this hoop, what's happening is there's so much force from people going to the Baja kit because they're pushing their vehicle a little harder, that this actual bolt going through here is bending. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some plate, and we're just basically going to make a couple strips that go down each side of it. We'll sand it all off, weld it on, align it, and then everything from there should be good to go. That's really all that needs to happen, is just to reinforce this so it doesn't taco that bolt or lose any strength now that we can put more force on it. Obviously, if it's longer, you have more leveraging force. So this now is not integrity-wise capable of handling the force that this can put on it because it's longer. So this short arm can only put so much force against this. This being the new alarm, that's the Baja alarm, can create more force and pressure due to the fact that it's longer. So we need to compensate that before we do anything. So what I'm going to do, again, is going to be probably another time lapse, because I'm going to have to disassemble this at first, but then basically I'll have to take the inner fender liner out and I'll have to clean all that stuff up, and then I'll have to fabricate some plates to go on each side, and I'm probably just going to use a reinforcement on each side of the bracket, and I'll probably use 3/16 steel. I'll just cut them in strips, line the holes up, drill the holes, and then of course run the bolt through and then weld it, and then pull the bolt out, and then everything else should go right in. This is an advice given to me, and it's happened to several people that haven't done this modification. So if you're going to be adding this kit to your truck or another kit similar, I don't know if there's one out there similar, but if there is and you're doing longer arms, make sure you do the work first, because I promise you, if you ever have a problem and have to get that bolt extracted, if you're taking all your stuff to a shop, it's going to be expensive. So keep that in mind. Let's knock it out. Let's take a quick look at where we're at. Okay, so we've got it down to about that far. Now I can kind of better show you what's going on in here. So I'm gonna have to take this tab off because we're gonna have to gusset each one of these sides. And the reason why you do that is because this area right here is causing this center bolt to bend. And so we need to reinforce that whole piece. That way, again, when the upward forces are going up against this, it's not wanting to bend. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and reinforce each side, and then we'll put a tab for the actual strap that goes down to the lower control arm that acts as a limiting strap. And basically what you want to do is you want to do about a 2-inch short strap based on the length of your shock. So when your shock is bottomed out, you want that strap to be about 2 inches shorter. And the reason why is a good friend of mine said you want it 2 inches shorter because when you're in a flexing position, it'll stretch about an inch. So you'll still have an inch leeway before the base. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you guys the difference in what we're putting in compared to the OEM Bilstein and the King. And I think you can see a huge difference in it in multiple ways. The size of the reservoir, because here's the reservoir here, and then here's the Bilstein reservoir. On top of that, spring rate and size and body size. This is a 2.5-inch shock, and this is, I'm not sure, maybe 175. Somebody correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong. But anyway, I think you can kind of see the difference in what we're going with and why. And so you also see the longer amount of stroke in it. So like I said, when we're setting it up, we'll make sure that we get everything built in here, reinforced, and then put a shock tab, a limiting strap tab in there. That way we can hook one up before we complete the build. Now, what's next is I need to pull the lower control arm, and then I need to pull the stock shaft, because that I'm replacing it. The kit comes with the longer CV shaft, so that's gonna get replaced. And then I need to replace the tie rod with a heavier duty tie rod. And then basically after that's done and I do the fabrication, I can go back in with the side. So let's keep ripping. There's a lot to do. show you something real quick. Now that I've got most of it out, let's look at the difference, right? So now I think you kind of see and understand the difference of what you're buying. The rigidity, the build quality, stuff that's made to do this kind of work on a daily basis versus stuff that's just made to give you a very capable stock vehicle. I mean, everywhere from this and this to these two differences. It's just insane. Part of the install, I do want to show you guys this. These two knuckles right here are bump steer stops, so they'll only allow you to turn so far. For the kit, we're gonna have to lop them off right there, and then we'll smooth it out and hit it with a little paint. So we'll get that knocked out. Once we get the other side done, that way we'll kind of do them together, and then we'll continue moving. Okay, you can see we're at a stopping point here. We've got this apart now, and so basically now I'm waiting on the limiting straps to come in, and then the double shear kit so I can weld them in. You kind of see where I marked a piece right there on the frame so I can make some measurements. But anyway, it's kind of in its position where it needs to be right now. And then here over here on both knuckles, you can see I cut those little tabs off both sides. And so instead of them being two little forks that stuck out for basically stops, for a steering stop, for it to turn too far in or too far back, we had to take those off because of the way that those arms are built. So now I've got some paint on them and they're drying. And basically now, we're just waiting process. The tie rods aren't in yet, and the straps aren't in yet, and neither is the double shear kit. So once I get that, I'll be able to finish. So we're gonna move on to something else. I think once we get that done, the back shouldn't be a big deal. Just all this construction up here, because I need to sand and weld all that stuff in, weld the double shear brackets in, put it in the upper control arms, run the bolts through them, mark where they are, tack them in, and then pull it all apart, weld them, paint them, then put the entire front end back together. So, not a big deal if you're just doing maybe like the King shock replacement, but if you're doing upper control arms, lower control arms, and you're gonna bomb it like I'm going to, it just makes sense to go ahead and do this work now. All right, so the point we're at now, that light's right above me. The point we're at now is we're doing the axle work. And so they send you two axles that are lengthened, obviously, because of the longer control arms and such. And that's how you get the longer down travel, adversely up travel. But I'll tell you this, if you haven't done it, you may want to have them dropped off at a shop and have them do it for you, because you'll need a bearing remover tool, and then you'll need a press to put them all back together. So that's something, while you're doing it, when you stop for the day, you can stop 30 minutes early, take them, drop them off at somebody's shop, and go back next day, wake up, go to work, go pick them up, put them in, and then you're done. So I'm not gonna cover a lot of it, because again, like I said, it's not gonna be for the pretty much average dude, average Joe. That's gonna be something that, a professional needs to do. I'm by no means a professional, but I do have my significant other's shop, Rogers Car Care, right across the street. And so when I get in a bind, I can always ask. So what I'm gonna do is knock these bad boys out and continue. The one thing we're waiting on is the double shear still. I can't put anything back together until I get a double shear, so I can put them in, weld them in, put the upper control arm on, then I can start going back with everything. So let's just check this time lapse out real quick and I'll get this thing put together. Okay, so I'm gonna do it a little different. That way you can see exactly what I'm doing, because the other way, you wouldn't have been able to tell what I was doing if you choose to do this on your own. So I flipped them around, and what I'm doing is I'm just putting a dab of grease in either one of the ball slots, and I'll show you why. So obviously our drive unit are balls, okay? And so you just gotta be careful, you gotta get them all in, just kind of be slow about it, right? They kind of snap in, but they don't hold in real well. So you kind of just get them in where they feel good and they're aligned, right? And so there you are. Now there's drive assembly grease on the inside of them, so that shouldn't be an issue. And obviously, if you want to see in here, I don't know if you can see in there, but yeah, you can. So you can see those dollops of grease that I put on them, that red. I know it's a little hard with the light, but either way, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna basically line this cover up and try to go right down with it just like that, okay? So that's not its final resting point, because now we have to take this entire drive unit and flip it over, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna install a snap ring. Now I could probably try to do it here, which I may be able to, I don't know. Let me get it, we'll see. This side, when basically to remove them, and I should have shown you that, but again, this is not something I expect most people to tackle. That's why I didn't cover it. Either way, when I went to remove it from the vehicle, this snap ring was loose, and this entire ball cage and orbital socket was able to move freely out. So, and I just came from that huge Moab trip, wheeling and shit. So I'm super glad something didn't happen. That would have been catastrophic. Anyway, so let's see if we can get this bad dude to go in there. And we're in. So that looks good. And I like it. So let me flip it over and take a look at it. Now, I will tell you guys this. These assemblies are not light. Okay. We're in, and it's where it needs to be anyway. Yeah, and I don't know for the life of me why that was out of place, but that's not good. Anyway, I'm gonna get these put on and go ahead and tackle the boots, and then this one's done. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the links in the description down below, and I'll try to help you out the best I can. I would say this is a good level 7 technical job. So if that gives you any understanding. So I wanted to show you guys this real quick, just so you can see how they stock up. So obviously this is the Baja kits, the Brenzel Industries new shaft, and you can see that that's the factory. And I think you see the length difference. So if we pull it to one way, we'll just do something like that, kind of line that up, and you see the difference. So there's a significant amount of travel difference there. And so if you look at the shaft difference at the end of the tire, you add probably 5 or 6 inches more. So you can tell this is a huge upgrade over stock. I'm pretty stoked right now. We've got all this stuff built and ready to go. That's all the stuff we pulled. This is built and ready. Both axle shafts are done and complete with the extensions in there. Both new inner and outer tie rods are built and ready to go and greased. I've already prepared these and got the collars and stuff where I wanted them, and added about 1 inch, which, just so you know, is about 5 turns. So obviously mark your starting point, and 1 revolution's 1. So 5 turns all the way around, according to King, is 1 inch. Now, we're starting on this beautiful stuff. So here's the arm, and then now you can see the double shears. So this plate right here is the on side, and then here's the other side. And so what they do is they give 2 more points of attachment. So you have right up against here on each side, and then you have an outer. So what it does is this, between this, doesn't allow it to bend in between this area. This access in here has a tube welded into it from the factory, and then the same right here, out and in. And so that captures that part of the bolt. So now, that's why it's called a double shear. And you can see where this doesn't give the ability for it to malform itself under pressure by being, I guess, forced this way, you know, by the suspension cycling. So that's what we're doing. I gotta get those welded in, and then once I get that welded in, I still need to take the time to put the lower control arm on and figure out what my distance of drop is going to be, max drop, so I can figure out where to put my tab for the limiting strap. But other than that, it's going real well. Let's just keep going. All right, so you guys can see that I've got them in there now. I went ahead and put a fresh coat of paint on everything. Both the uprights are done and up. I just put some paper towels in the back just to kind of mitigate some of the overspray. Not like it matters a whole lot, but I figured we'd do it. Now, I won't really be able to do much. I'll be able to put it all back together, but I'm still gonna have to do some painting and grinding, because I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna put my top limit strap in this whole equation. That's the one thing I'm waiting on. So at least this side's done and ready to rock and roll. I'll go ahead and move to the other side while this paint dries and start grinding and getting rid of that stuff for paint and welding. Now see, what I did is I tacked them on both sides, in and out, and then I let them cool down until I can put my finger on them. Because remember, we don't want these to contort, because we're gonna take that bolt out again to remove this upper control arm, so then we can obviously do a couple things. One, adjust them when they get to the alignment shop. They're gonna need to be able to take them out. So you don't want them to be contorted and twisted in a way that it's just hard as hell to get that bolt out, because then they may skip on getting your alignment right. But do that, tack them in, and then once they were ready to weld, where they were touchable, I just went ahead and seamed that, and now I'll wait, and then I'll seam some of this, and seam some of this, and then it should be ready. Then we'll start working on our gussets. And then, other than that, once it's painted, and this is painted, I can actually start working on the other side, putting it back together. So, we're close. I remember this. Okay, so you can see what I've done here. Here's the vertical gussets, the double shears. I let them cool down. Once they were cooled down, I went ahead and started working on these plates. And they're just reinforcement plates going back to the main shock tower hoop to add rigidity. Again, just here, and then on the back side and down the sides. Same thing over here. I know it's short, but again, you're tying all this stuff back together, and that's what we wanted to do. So you can see we're just good flow, running all the way down. Got a little bit of pitting in it. And you can see that discoloration, but that's okay. You can't get them all super clean all the time. Anyway, now it's ready for paint and I guess assembly. All right, got it in. Double shear bracket right here. Tied this back to the main shock tower. Did the same thing with the other one. Now we can pull it all out and paint it. And then I gotta get ready for figuring out what to do with these dudes and where. Sounds like fun. All right, I wanted to give you guys a little quick update. Like, here's all of it mostly put together. I've got the tie rod out obviously right now because, so now you can see why I built in those lateral gussets. And what I did is, that's an installed tab for the, where is it at? Strap. So you guys will see that once I get it painted and tied in. Then we're basically done with this side. And then we can go ahead and move on to the opposite side. Other than I need to mount this real quick, and it goes on a bracket just right there under this, so not long. Okay, so again, I told you guys this install was definitely for advanced people. Tooling, all that stuff. I do want to show you guys this, so look at this. That's bananas. Where's the back tire? It's hiding. Anyway, capacitor's the same. It's just bananas. Anyway, let me turn around and show you guys this. So all the fab work is done in the front, and I've got them slightly adjusted the fronts. It's gonna have to go straight to alignment because so much work was done. But you guys can see now just everything in there, all the bracketry, everything extended. Man, it's gonna be bananas. Anyway, they said 3" over. It's 3" over. So let's get rocking and rolling on the back, and then we'll see what the rest look like. How about you that? So I didn't figure you guys wanted to see me jack up the rear and take out the tires, or I would have done it. Anyway, so we've got the back jacked up. I've got jacks on both sides, jack stands, and then of course I'm supporting the pumpkin or the center of the rear end with another jack, just for precautionary. But then also I'm going to be removing the shocks, and the shocks struts basically are what hold the axle up. So if you remove these shocks, then it'll want to fall. So that's what that's doing there. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and strip these out real quick, the shocks and struts. Shocks or struts, whatever you want to call them. We'll get them pulled out and get them both replaced. That way it'll support the axle. And then we can go on to replacing the lower links. And there's a bolt on the other side of the gas tank side that's run in against the gas tank. And so unless you want to drop your tank, the simplest thing to do is cut that bolt, because they do send a new replacement in the kit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to knock that out. Let's go. Fast forward to today. It's way cold in the shop. It's like 42 degrees in here. But we are close to the end of the rear. Now, basically what we need to do is take this lower link off on the passenger side. This lower link on the passenger side, the front bolt up the front, rear bolt, front bolt, is against the gas tank. So unless you want to drop your tank, the easiest way to do it is to loosen the bolt, and I'll show you right in here. So right in here at this bolt, you push it inbound or towards the center of the truck, and then you'll come in between the joint, the actual joint from the factory frame, and the actual control arm, slip your Sawzall in there and cut that bolt, then you'll slide it out that side. The new bolt that they provide slides in this way, and then you put the nut on that side to capture it. It's just long enough to get through there and work. So we really just got to replace that arm and the driver's side arm, and then torque everything down and put the wheels on. Oh, we do need to put the spacers here, because let me show you this. This is a view, and unfortunately got this rear tire right in the way. But I think you can see how much farther it sticks out now. This is a really good look. There you go, and you come up here, and now look up here, right there at this fender, and then look how far this tire is out. Like, it's bananas. So anyway, let's roll so we can finish this bad boy. Right? It is bananas. I can't wait to see it on the ground. And I know it's kind of hard to tell by perspective at this point, but it's big just sitting here. And I know this doesn't do justice, but I'll show you kind of what it looks like even at an angle. Angle. I'm about 5'9", and here's my shoulder about this body line. Now it's up because of the jack stands, but still, it would, I'm guessing the top of this fender is even with my chin at 5'9", so it's big. But that's what we wanted, because it's gonna be bananas when I go jump this thing. Okay, so you can see how much bigger that control arm is, but it's in and everything's back and bolted up tight. That is the new bolt I was telling you about. Everything else is pretty much the same. So now I've adjusted the compression to all of them to 15 right now because we don't know. And obviously I added 5 turns of the collar on each one of them for an extra inch because I don't know what they had it set at. So this is kind of the way we're gonna run it now. Also, you can see, here's a 2-inch spacer that I'm gonna have to run, billet 66 aluminum, to even out the front to the back tire ratio. So now all that's left is going ahead and knocking out the other side and then putting this bad boy on the ground and take some measurements. So I just took it for a test drive and just kind of making sure everything was good, clunks, bangs, all that kind of thing. And I hit all the things I specifically test shocks on. Every time I do shock tuning and stuff like that, like different brands and different types and models, I take it to specific streets that have real hard chop, that's real straight. That way the braking bumps are just bananas. Anyway, it performed amazing. So let's check it out. Here we are. It's beautiful. I couldn't be more happy with it, to be honest. The stance is perfect. Just the way it's supposed to look and be built is what it looks like now. I absolutely cannot wait for King of the Hammers to go just destroy this dude. Now I will do some videos soon. We've got a local area to go, and it's a public lands type area, but it's got some really good sand areas and wash and some crawling and stuff like that. So I really want to get this thing out soon and see what it takes to get this guy where it needs to be. So we will get the tape measure out here in a second and just check it out. All right, let's zoom in here and look at this, guys. So you can see right here at the very top, the front height and rear height in the beginning stock was 42 7/8, and in the rear it was 42 1/2. Now, after the kit's installed, the front height is 44 and the rear height is a 43 1/2. So you can see in the rear we gained 1 inch, and in the front we gained about 1 1/4 inches over what we already had. And then right here we can see that the front, and this is width, so the stock front width was 84, and with the Baja's kit now is now 89. So that's over 5 inches of width we gained. And then in the rear here, it was 85 1/2 stock. And then now with the Baja kits, it's 88 1/2 now. That's incredible. That is a huge vehicle. The one thing I couldn't do is the stock drops and the Baja drops, because what I did is I used a static measurement off the fender, and obviously this raised it. Now you could assume by adding the math and adding the height into the lift and then doing the droop test and seeing what we got, but so the stock drop was about 3 inches and the rear was about 6.62 inches. I can assume that we grew 3 inches longer, well, 3.5 inches longer, that this would be probably close to 7 inches. And this would probably be close to, geez, 10 inches. So you know, 7 to 8 inches droop in the front, and you know, anywhere around 10 inches of droop in the rear. So it's bananas. I will say this, I couldn't be more happy. Now, I did limit my extension a little bit, and you can see it in there. I'll show you right there. So the reason why I did that is because droop is nice, but droop is also a game changer when it comes to potentially killing your trip, because if you extend something, overextend something, and lose an axle, you got problems. So I decided to go this way, and I also took out 1 inch of extension. The reason being is I didn't ever want to use the shock bottom as a way to stop my droop. But I can tell you this, it is going to do everything we need it to do. It is now bananas. I don't remember what stock ground clearance is. It's somewhere around 12. I would assume we're far greater than that. I would say we're probably in the 14.5 range. But how cool does that look? Man, guys, this is what we wanted. It's this look right here. It's just bananas, right? Like, yeah. I just wish you guys could understand. Get a tape measure out, measure your Bronco, and then lay these measurements down, and it's just banana. It's huge. And not only that, again, you know, I'm 5'9". I'm measured to the fender well at 44 inches. I don't know what this dude is now. I could do a quick measurement to tell you, and maybe I will, just to give you an overall. We'll tell you where the height of this is, because that's something that everybody can judge on their vehicle, right? Let's do that real quick and then we'll close it out. Guys, just so you can do this and you can kind of check it out at home, that way it'll give you a better understanding of what it does. So what I did is this bolt, I measured straight down to the ground to this top part of this bolt. And so, or excuse me, the top part of this edge right here. So at that edge to the ground was 56 inches, okay? And then what I did back here is I measured the ground to the flat area right here. So right to this edge. So down and then level with the level edge out here, it measured 54. So 54 in the rear, 56 in the back, or 56 in the front, 54 in the rear. But anyway, guys, that's it. He's done. He is finished. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. I'll get to them. If you haven't hit the bell button, hit the bell button. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because now you're going to see this dude go get bombed. Anyway, thank you for the support. Thanks for always jumping in here, and thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. Any comments and questions in the description below? Hey, we'll see you next time. Real quick, I've got a pair of brand new rough country heavy duty tie rods for a Bronco. Now they won't work on this kit, and that's why I'm not using them, because they need to be extended about 3.5 inches. So right there is that dude right there, okay? Let's do a giveaway. Do we want to do a giveaway? Comment below what you guys think the giveaway should for those be. They've been installed. One side has been installed to realize that it was too short, and then they've been taken out. So they're brand new. So comment in the description below what our drawing should be, and then we'll do it next video. See you next time.